Good morning, Freetown. Good morning, Sierra Leone. Welcome to Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV TV and Radio on FM 101.7. My name is Bokari Matia.
And I am Alimati Judge. Whether you're watching or listening to us from the provinces or in the capital city on Channel 33 or on DSTV Channel 399 from across Africa, you're most welcome.
You can also watch us from around the world on this joyous day, the 20th of July, 2026.
We are broadcasting live from the top of Tower Hill in the heart of the city. Send us your comments through our socials on AYV News Facebook page and the stories that we cover this morning.
And talking of the stories we're covering, coming up yesterday, the 69th ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government concluded at the newly built Julius Maada Bio International Conference Center in Leone. Sierra Leone, chaired by President Julius Maada Bio, the high-stakes summit brought regional leaders together to address pressing political, economic and security challenges across West Africa.
And during the summit, leaders deliberated on a unified community declaration to restore hope in democratic governance and fight regional distrust. The authority evaluated West Africa's security framework, focusing on counter-terrorism, combating transnational crime, and regional infrastructure development.
Well, this morning exclusively, we shall be discussing the outcome of the summit, the attendance of former President Anis Bai Koroma. We shall also talk on trade, security, governance, including the end of term of President Julius Maada Bio as chair of the ECOWAS.
But before all that, let's get a quick message from our sponsors, Wakeup Commercial Bank and other advertisers, and we shall be right back with you. Please stay with us.
More and more people are using Wakeup SIM Copper Plus in their everyday lives. Did you hear that? She just transferred money for her daughter's school fees. And this man just paid for some products. Ah, Mr. Abu, are you sending money to your wife again?
Yes, like Wakeup SIM Copper.
Ah.
Yes, like having money in my pocket.
Ah, excellent.
Thank you.
He just bought some eggs. The world is digital, so keep up with the times. Have you got a payment to make? If so, just download Wakeup SIM Copper Plus now. You can download the Wakeup SIM Copper Plus app from Apple iStore and iPad or Google Play Store for Android users. You see, it's fast, safe and reliable.
Sorry, Carl, go see some business partners.
You didn't give me memory, Michael. Can if I can say you where this can people not to Indy. Michael, today you pay me money. I don't send it for let you help me send money in Ghana. 2 weeks now, you not send me money and 10 you not give me back me money. Today, give me money.
You know, ever sabi goodness in life. I send back your money, but trust me, today na the very last day I ever send money for now.
I don't need your help because I don't know so with Afri money. I dey able to send money. Now Baku Africa countries them. With Afri money, we dey able to send money to over 10 African countries, whether it's Ghana, Gambia, Liberia, or Kenya. If me party we know this, we not follow the party grammar right now.
Okay, una go regret. I mean, now una go regret.
The best part right now, Michael. With Afri money, you dey able to send money, even if you not use app, even if you not the online, directly. All you need for do, you just a dial *161#. Pam, your money don't go. So I don't need the help again. Thief man.
Thank you.
Send money to over 10 African countries instantly with Afri Money. No stress, no excuses. Just dial *161*1*6# now. Afri Money. Quick and easy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I can take money, 2 MoneyGram.
Welcome our PC Foreign Exchange Bureau head office. Sit down.
Thank you.
You can write them.
Waiting that mean?
Where you can take money through MoneyGram Western Union at any PC and Son shop, including the head office. you dey get 1% cashback instant. Yes ma, e no tap dey o. Every Thursday we can collect money. Now 59 Wellington Street, Usa you dey showing at the head office for the foreign exchange. You dey get 1% of that money we can collect plus additional gifts.
Wow! You mean say for me 1% I dey get gifts?
Yes ma.
Wetin na the gift?
You dey get gifts like 5 kg paddy jasmine rice. You dey get gifts like paddy oil, paddy milk, paddy mayonnaise, and plenty other paddy things them.
Una thank you.
You're welcome. And now you can call can only go keep you and the lucky win and see what you go win you say.
Wait till you dey wait. No miss out on the Thursday special.
BC Foreign Exchange Bureau, the 1% the game plus Thursday special.
Again, it's been a very crazy day. The joyous feeling in the air when rain falls on a sunny day. Happy, yeah. Let the stars, let the roll.
Enjoy life's little pleasures with Maltina. Maltina. Share happiness.
As mama, I always want waiting best for me picking them, especially when it comes out waiting them for eat and drink. Now this make I always they choose Sarah juice because they make come from with local foods them and nutritious and it gets less sugar than the other drinks them. Not to me say so.
We lab test show say Sierra juice gets 50% less sugar than the other drinks them na the market.
Because we mama they know waiting best for we picking them, now make we always they choose Sierra juice. Sierra juice and nutritious, it healthy and it's sweet. Sierra juice, not the taste of Salone.
Fellow Sierra Leoneans, on 8th August 2024, Statutory Instrument Number 8 of 2024 regarding the conduct of nationwide population and housing census was successfully laid in Parliament. On 29th August 2024, this statutory instrument became effective following 21 days from its laying. Therefore, in line with the decennial census calendar, I am pleased to announce that my government will conduct a nationwide population and housing census.
It's 2026, we dey get with census. Make all man tell him family them, and responsibility
to the sun. No matter how you dare or you try. Blah 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 blah. Mama or papa. Blah blah blah. One picking on grandpa. Blah blah blah. Auntie or uncle. Blah 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 blah. Let it go to you. Yeah. One people, one nation. Let it go to you. Yeah. Now we know back up bills alone. Let it go to you. Yeah. No person say you not here. Let it go to you. Let it go to you.
I'm a papa. Make we come together now. Brother, sister. Nothing say you no matter, no. No left behind, no. This now you 10 for. Can join the census. Salon now we on.
Okay, well, show me your name. Show me your address. For make you go join now the plan. The census go make you get the access. For make you go vote now this land. Let the all you. If you don't want make them country again, make them creep you. Cause this time you're salon for us.
See what you been a second cabo aduo. We bring good news, salon people have you. Census don't come again. We ready for control, sky from the young to the older. Say the census go help make development day. Allow me then continue until you know go pay. It go help plan more schools, hospital and lights, even water for you community. Who say you there?
Let it go to you. Yeah. One people, one nation. Let it go to you. Yeah. Now we know back up bills alone. Let it go to you. Yeah. No person say you not here. Let it go to you. Yeah. Let it go to you.
Census they come, the other we cooperate. Tell mama and papa, thank you for country all, the other we all ready. Census go help for make we know we safe, and who say we stand. If you claim say you love salon, who say development day, na day you for day.
Yambo tegina, mimbo tegina, mingo tetege biambe. Ka 2026, census na me right, census na you right. Family. Imagine if they count everybody that left you out.
Amulemba kotumogbawa, ukopa kufuninge sagbele tuwa. Konya, ye amubuji hule panda. Wabulo letobogbawa bayaganga. Ye tumogbawa mudagbe behave. Kometi ya kuo salon bate mukweleva. Nyabi yina na miatobogbawa na. Yo mama kome kolabo gonya delega yina.
Kakotone dim din dang, dim din dang, dim din dang. Katsap katsa tinganga pe katsa konkal, anga pe katsa panganda yer. Abagato bagats, aindo gor. Akalene, samo jamu, agatsamu, sarentamu. Donye, mama maritaka gonsu.
Amiya timi wandi, timi wandi. Amiya timi wandi, timi wandi. Mwa Kongo tami wandi, ewa menda milwena wo. Ya Kongo tabi wandi, ungeba handa bebe holo.
From the east to the west, blah 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 blah. From the north to the south, blah blah. No matter how you dare or you try, blah 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 blah. Mama or papa, blah 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 blah. One picking on grandpa, blah 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 blah. Auntie or uncle, blah 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 blah. May they call to you, yeah. One people, one nation. May they call to you, yeah. Now we know back up bills alone. May they call to you, yeah. No person say you not here. May they call to you, yeah. May they call to you, yeah.
Back, a quick reminder, you're watching Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV television and radio here in Freetown. Now let's bring you some highlights of the ECOWAS summit Saturday and Sunday that happened in Guinea. Yes, apologies, in Lungi.
Nations are remembered not only for the challenges they overcome, but also for the institutions that they leave behind. Today, Sierra Leone and ECOWAS add two more institutions to that enduring legacy. On the eve of the 69th ordinary session of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, we are gathered in Leone mention two landmark investments. One is an investment by the Republic of Sierra Leone, the government, and that is done as part of our national future. The other is an investment by the economic community of West African states in our collective regional future. Different ownerships, different purpose, yet united by one vision, a stronger Sierra Leone, serving a stronger West Africa. Therefore, it is a profound honor and privilege for me, on behalf of the people of the Republic of Sierra Leone, to welcome you to this official commissioning of the Julius Malala Bio International Conference Center and the ECOWAS Logistics
Conference Center stand as a fitting monument to Sierra Leone's vision, ambition, and confidence in its future. One can safely and boldly conclude that it is a testament to the visionary leadership and steadfastness of President Bio. The center proudly bears his name. A national duty not frequently permits our physical presence when such occasions of note take place in sister states, which make this event a rare opportunity for me to be here with you. Vividly imposes itself to symbolize what is attainable when leaders delegate their lives to their nations and toil not only for the present but also for the coming generations that inherit the legacies and institutions left behind by them.
Of course, the opposition is concerned also for value for money. You know, this structure cost over $124 million.
What do you mean concern for value for money?
Value for money, whether it's worth the amount. You know, recently we just came from Abuja, where the president of Sierra Leone, who is the chairman for heads of authority in our heads of state, you know, where he launched the massive structure built by the Chinese for the ECOWAS headquarters. And you saw three structures. You saw the conference center at the middle. It all cost $56 million. You understand? So you come to ask yourself, but like you say, as opposition, we are not opponents of the development of this country. We are proponents, you know. And when once it's good, we say good things about it. And where we have questions, we ask those questions. So we appreciate the fact that a structure like this is built here, you understand? But again, we have to question the amount that is used to build the structure. So as a born and bred of Lunge, you know, I want to express our profound thanks and appreciation to the government of Sierra Leone for this structure here. The summit is very good for Sierra Leone. The mere fact that Sierra Leone is taking a center stage, we now have the chairman for the heads of states all around the sub-region. To us, it's a blessing as a country. And for this conference to be hosted in Sierra Leone is also a blessing. You know, and like we say, we are not a destructive opposition. That is why we are all here, to make sure that we complement the efforts of government and we express our total willingness to work hand in glove in ensuring that the aspirations of government they are achieved.
Here in Lunge, the smell of business is ever strong. For many traders, the summit is a guest they hope will leave more than handshakes.
Of course, the opposition is concerned also for value for money. You know, this structure cost over.
Here in Lunge, the smell of business is ever strong. For many traders, the summit is a guest they hope will leave more than handshakes. They're anticipating huge sales. President Julius Maada Bio has described the ECOWAS summit as an opportunity to showcase Sierra Leone and stimulate economic activity.
Here we generate business for hotels, restaurants, transport operators, tourism, enterprises, and small businesses. It will create employment, stimulate local enterprise, and contribute to the continued growth of our economy.
From market women and food vendors to commercial bike riders, taxi drivers and small-scale service providers, expectations are already rising like sweet-smelling incense ascending the heavens. Some residents say business has already begun to improve, while others are still waiting for the promised ripple effect to reach their doorstep.
God, thank you for this summit here, because this time we pray for, we see development, we see business, alhamdulillah, small, because people, they come, different people, they come around. Normal business is so many they do. Now that they survive for the moment. And I believe say the movements of the people are they give money. So the more people they move, the more I get money.
What is one a flop show? Because either it be a business, if we lack of population, you know, easily self-develop. But alhamdulillah, from that are all what we hear about this. People are you end there for say they carry across there. Alhamdulillah, it's still go normal.
ECOWAS summit, you not get problem, but we not get business. From yesterday 10, I will not get no business. Now, so no more see all the people in the past. We know say people can come, we say we do business, but they all man they find business. No business, no day.
Business no day, sell more now. I let people then come, we know they get better sell. So you see, we need to have the strength. They go with the strength, so they all they sell no day. Sunday na one does they sell for the day. But today we they sell fast, for right to sell no day.
The price some it change, some normal. Like this year where they can buy na normal in a 10 blank buy. See that they say 15, so I don't know.
For Lunge, the summit is more than a diplomatic calendar event. It is a test of whether international gatherings can leave lasting footprints in local communities long after the delegates have departed. Maya Matomi, AYV News, Freetown, Lunge International Airport.
Stand by. That was highlights of the summit. We return now to our main studios in our first conversation this morning. This weekend, Sierra Leone found itself at the crossroads of history and diplomacy. Before presidents gathered around the ECOWAS table, another chapter was written. The President Julius Maada Bio International Conference Center, now the country's largest purpose-built convention facility, was officially opened alongside the ECOWAS Logistics Depot in Lunge, a strategic regional hub designed to strengthen the bloc's capacity to respond to humanitarian emergencies, peace support operations, and regional crises.
The ceremonies sets the stage for the ECOWAS Media Summit, where the region's leaders met against the backdrop of an organization confronting some of the greatest tests in its 5-decade history. From terrorism and unconstitutional changes of government to the departure of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger from the bloc.
Well, in his farewell address as chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, President Julius Maada Bio said the summit would focus on 3 defining priorities: the transition of regional leadership, healing deepening political divisions, and advancing economic and digital integration across West Africa.
11 member states from the core. Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was represented, while Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye was unanimously elected to succeed President Bio as chairman of the authority. He assumes the mantle at a moment when expectations are high, not only for Senegal, but for a region searching for renewed purpose amid shifting political tides.
Yet, perhaps the most striking moment came from Guinea's military leader, General Mamadi Doumbouya, in a pointed rebuke of ECOWAS's approach to regional crisis. He argued that sanctions have too often become the bloc's first instinct rather than its last resort. Sanctions strike first and foremost the children in classrooms, women in markets, men in fields and workshops, he told fellow leaders before leaving the summit hall immediately after delivering his address.
This morning, we unpack a summit that unveiled new monuments to regional cooperation while exposing old fault lines beneath them. The buildings may stand in concrete, but can the unity they were meant to symbolize withstand political tremors shaking West Africa?
Well, in the studio, we've been joined by Thomas Dixon, media and political analyst. We expect Alfred Minkailu Koroma, member of the All People's Congress Party APC publicity team, and also John Corker, Executive Director of Fumble Talk International. We also have in our studios Moses Mambu, National Publicity Secretary of the ruling Sierra Leone People's Party. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to the show this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
Thomas, let me start off with you. ECOWAS, has celebrated 50 years of existence. Yes, as we speak this moment, 3 member states left the bloc, and we all know as a result of the new political wave in those countries. Is ECOWAS stronger than before, or are there cracks within ECOWAS?
Well, if you look at ECOWAS from an international politics point of view, you will see that ECOWAS is more of a talk shop. ECOWAS mandate and authority. ECOWAS initially was established for more of economic integration, but it's more towards political, cooling down political tension. It's more towards politics, so to say, not too much of economic integration. And ECOWAS's authority have not been felt. The real effect of ECOWAS have not been felt by the ordinary citizens of ECOWAS. We still have regional country blockade amongst ECOWAS countries. And if you are talking about economic integration, look at the European Union. You see what they are doing. We should have less blockade. We should have free movement of people and goods here and there. It's happening, but the rate at which it's happening is very slow. And you mentioned the Sahel countries, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, who left ECOWAS. That's because, as the Guinean president said, ECOWAS is sanction-oriented. They are quick to give sanction instead of discussion, instead of articulating the problems of the ordinary citizens. And these people, when they took power, they are fighting for their people. You look at what the threat in the Sahel from terrorists, which have not been dealt with by ECOWAS. It has not been dealt with by despite they've been sending military to that region, but they've not been able to deal with it conclusively. So the military in those countries, when they took power, they are stepping up to deal with that threat. You look at even our big brother Nigeria, Boko Haram, and the kidnapping of girls, young girls, and you know that ECOWAS is not doing very much in terms of helping to bring down that threat. I think the biggest threat that is not supposed to be a threat, it's supposed to be a dividend, is the youth bulge that we are having. When you talk about economic growth, you're talking about labor, capital, technology, and you talk about the young people. In ECOWAS, this is the first time we are having more young people in this region than any other time. But we are not, as a community, ECOWAS as a community is not taking advantage of it. And that is why I want to say that most of the presidents in that room yesterday, they highlighted, they resonated what I'm saying. The Ghanaian president, that ECOWAS for a long time has been a talk shop. Those resolutions have to be felt by the member state. You come to ECOWAS court, a human rights court which was set up to protect human rights. Compare ECOWAS court to the European Human Rights Court, whose authority are respected by member states. Look at our own case, the Samsumana decision. When that matter went to the ECOWAS court, the then Attorney General said that ECOWAS does not have jurisdiction over Sierra Leone. But it's the same ECOWAS that then Attorney General is a lawyer for the former president that has brokered the deal. So and up till now, that decision has not been respected by the state, by Sierra Leone as a state. You look at, it's not just Sierra Leone, there are other ECOWAS decisions that have been made by the ECOWAS court that have not been respected. There are protocols that have been signed by the ECOWAS parliament that has not been ratified by member states. So when you look at ECOWAS, one may say that ECOWAS is more of a talk shop. 50 years, and we are lagging behind. We talked about, there was a time that we were talking about one currency. Look at the European Union. Today they have one currency, the EU. And not just one currency, a central bank for Europe. We don't have that in ECO. We have the West Africa Economic Zone, but we are not doing much in terms of trying to bring those policies, those resolutions into action, that will impact the lives of people. However, one may say yesterday's summit, they signed 3 landmark agreements. They signed an agreement on gender parity that by 2040, 40% for women in top positions, political, economic, and social positions across countries in ECOWAS. They committed to it, and that's where I want to say that Sierra Leone has gone before ECOWAS. We've done the GWI Act, and that particular agreement is saying by 2040 it should go to 50%. So it means that acts like the GWI Act should be reviewed by that time, so that we can get female representation by half in all spheres of life, which I think is good, that ECOWAS is making short commitment. There was an instrument on a gas line, energy connectivity, that was also signed. I think also that is good, about $25 billion project. I think that is also good. And so there were things that we assigned, but out of that room, like the Guinean president said, we need water, we need electricity, we need good roads, we need, so even the connectivity in ECOWAS, look at how Europe has gone. In terms of rail connectivity, road network is good. We need to do more as ECOWAS. We need to do more. ECOWAS needs to do more to ensure, if you go around, particularly the Gen Z population, you talk to them about ECOWAS, they know little or nothing about ECOWAS. They are not feeling the impact of ECOWAS. So I think ECOWAS should do more in terms of economic integration.
Thomas, would it be a plausible argument on the other hand to say that ECOWAS as a region is struggling for the past 50 years because of the political situations we've found ourselves in? I mean, even if you look at Guinea, the president's been very vocal yesterday at the summit, also have had their own share of political instability for the past 50 years. You look at countries like Sierra Leone, for almost a decade, we were in civil war, whilst other countries were progressive. We've had other countries with military coup almost every decade. We've had economic issues in every country almost every decade. I mean, so if you're talking about ECOWAS, not fulfilling, the very essence of its formation, changing the lives of ECOWAS citizens, economically being viable, wouldn't another person from another school of thought argue that, the region itself hasn't been stable in the past 50 years? Well,
I think the reason why the region is not stable is because individual countries have not been able to surrender some of its sovereignty to ECOWAS. The ECOWAS authority of heads of state and government, it remains like a big club for the leaders to go and talk and chill. Some of the decisions are not trickling down. So that is perhaps one of the reasons. Another reason is individual countries themselves. Our leaders, corruption has been pervasive in this region. And that's what has caused coup, that's what has caused economic problems, that's what has caused serious political turmoil in the region. So you go to all the countries in ECOWAS, like the big brother, Nigeria, Ghana, they have their own issues they are grappling with. And you look at us in Sierra Leone, we also have our own issues that we are grappling with. We are fighting the war, the civil war, and ECOWAS did well for us. The ECOMOC came here, they helped us to get peace. and particularly Nigerians, Sani Abacha, and the other leaders. So I think ECOWAS should move from a talk shop to an action-oriented regional bloc.
How would that be done if these leaders are still fighting? For instance, the new wave of terrorism. We also have issues of piracy along the Gulf region, the Gulf of Guinea. These are rife issues, and now the issue of drug across West Africa. How can leaders?
You will not, as leaders, they will not be able to, these problems will not be able to solve if they are not united. We are not united, because these are the problem of terrorism. You want to think that the Sahel is very far, but they are just close to us, and countries in like us should be very, very much afraid, particularly when it comes to fundamentalism. Fundamental view, extremist views. We are seeing them in our religious body, and this can quickly spiral over to conflict. And I think we have to, ECOWAS as a region should brace up. We should be united to fight some of these things. About we also have this digital problem. I think our president talked about it yesterday. Digital integration, and if we think that we want to bring in the youth on board, we should not sit by. We are moving a step forward globally in terms of digitalization. We are talking about artificial intelligence, and not just ECOWAS. Africa is lagging behind. We are not part of the conversation. We are not on the table to discuss some of these critical issues that will shape not just world politics, but even global business and economy.
Okay, so Mr. Mambo, let me bring you in.
Yes.
Okay. So, prior to the summit, the President's bill has repeatedly been mentioned as seeking a second term at ECOWAS. Does not securing a second term amount to a political setback for him?
President Bio, in his life, in his entire life, I've never had a political setback. So it is important to go back and check the history books of one's life, and then you'll be able to understand that.
Was he vying for a second time? Was he campaigning for that? He was not. Sidi did mention that when I interviewed him the other day. He said he wouldn't be surprised if we see the former president and Esbai Kuma at the summit campaigning for Madabio to get a second time at the ECOWAS.
President Bio, since school days, have never missed what he wanted. Anything President Bio politically set his heart to achieve, he always achieved it. President Bio was not seeking a second term. ECOWAS is a democratic institution, and it has a legal mandate for each head of state to run for a term, or if the bloc see it necessary to extend your term, they will extend your term.
Because it was done for Tinubu, right?
Yes, but it was done for Tinubu because at that time, a lot of the people whom the chairmanship was supposed to fall on pulled out. And then they had to talk to the big brother, Tinubu, at that time, because he had the infrastructure to do that as the big brother in Africa. So President Bio was not seeking a second term. President Bio graciously handed over the mantle of leadership to his little brother, as you hear him say yesterday, to his little brother, President Faye of Senegal, to continue the leadership. Mind you, even before the rise of President Bio to the throne of leadership in West Africa, you saw that there were rumors of President Faye becoming the chair of ECOWAS. So leadership transition was part of the agenda yesterday. So that was one of the things they dealt with yesterday, to make sure they have a new leadership. Because you see, sometimes you see Sierra Leoneans shouting, Hosanna, Hosanna, and they will be the same one to crucify you. You remember when President Bio ascended the throne to be the chair of ECOWAS, a lot of Sierra Leoneans and pundits around the world were saying, oh, President Bio, now he's traveling, he has a lot of things to do at home. Why not focus on domestic issues? Why go global? But then President Bio tenure as the ECOWAS chairman for the past 1 year have been one of the most successful.
What would you describe as his greatest achievement during his tenure?
His experience as a peacemaker. That is one of his greatest attributes that he brought to that leadership. President Bio is among few leaders now in the world globally who ascended throne of leadership when they were young. You understand? Using the military arm to come to power and then transcend to civilian leadership for the past 8 years. So he had wealth of experience. And President Bio have worked for ECOWAS before. When he was younger, he was part of an ECOWAS military group that went to Liberia. So President Bio have vast knowledge in terms of the doctrines, the trainings, you understand, some of the rules, the regulations of how ECOWAS should operate. So based on that, he brought a lot of experience to
so
the
how
table
did
when
he
it comes
use that
to
experience?
He used it in several facets.
To bring out results.
He used it in several facets because before President Bio ascended the throne, there have been issues between ECOWAS and EU, ECOWAS and the UN and the United Nations, especially over the Sahel issue, issue. So to a point you saw at a particular point, even the US was sending F-15s to bomb in Nigeria, some of the terrorist groups. So there had been that issue. With President Bio standing globally, President Bio was able as a leader to bridge a gap. You saw him attending on behalf of ECOWAS, attending a lot of conferences in Italy, attending a lot of EU conferences at the EU headquarters in Brussels to see how they can bridge those gaps. And those gaps have been bridged. That is why, as part of that compact between ECOWAS and EU, that was why they signed the Energy Compact, that will see West Africa working with the EU and other global partners, the World Bank and other global partners, to make sure West Africa is electrified in the next 2 3
Prior
decades.
to his ascension as the chairman of ECOWAS, you know, there were very serious matters on the table at ECOWAS. For instance, you know that Mali had left, and of course Burkina Faso. So many people had high hopes that the president, with his wealth of knowledge and all the experiences he'll be able to find a way for these people to come back to the ECOWAS bloc. But that didn't happen.
No, they're coming.
Do you think
they're very close? And I can tell you that you saw also his relationship with Mauritania. You saw Mauritania, right? After a long time, you saw Mauritania. That was because of the intervention of President Bio and his leadership acumen, both in Sierra Leone and the global stage. And you saw, as part of his work, you saw him engage many times the Sahel region, this Sahel country. President Bio went to Burkina Faso, President Bio went to Mali, President Bio went to Niger. He has been working. President Bio listened to them. He held meetings with these guys. Their concerns have been raised. A lot of concerns were raised with regards to regional integration, the role of ECOWAS in terms of rejecting the colonial powers, especially France, because you know the Sahel region have been struggling with the invasion of France, the dominance of France over their basic economies and the lives of the people. And over time, that have been archaic. The people of those countries have rejected the over-domineering nature of their colonial master, France. So President Bio have been engaging them. President Bio have engaged them. There have been a lot of agreements between ECOWAS and those regions, and ECOWAS, through the ECOWAS Commission, have been working to address some of their concerns. But for me, 2 things about President Bio's leadership in ECOWAS that we don't need to sweep under the carpet. One of the things is Sierra Leone as a country should be grateful to what ECOWAS have done. I hear my brother says, oh, the Gen Zs don't care about ECOWAS or what they stand for. Every Gen Z in Sierra Leone should care, as long as you are a Gen Z that follow history, that read your history books.
not all Gen Zs read their history books?
No, I know. So that's why I said it is our responsibility as media. It is our responsibility as political actors. It is our responsibility as leaders in the media space to make sure we continue educating our Gen Zs so that they don't forget where Sierra Leone is coming from, so that they can prepare for now and then build a better nation for the future. Because at a point in our history, ECOWAS passed a resolution on Sierra Leone supported by the United Nations. And those resolutions yielded in putting together thousands of men and women who came here to fight our war. I can tell you, they are Nigerians, they are Guineans who died in this country. Their bodies never went back home. Their families never located their bodies again. Their souls, their spirits are injected in our life. So for me, it should be a joy that Sierra Leone was able finally to host the ECOWAS, if not for nothing. but to say thank you on our home soil, to say thank you to ECOWAS. We've never had the opportunity to say thank you.
Do we have to say thank you to ECOWAS? Are we not a member state? Are we not entitled to these things?
No, we are. You see, when you are part of an organization contributing, there are times those organizations benefit you more than others. Sierra Leone have benefited as a result of ECOWAS more than many other nations.
Talking about the summit, Mr. Mambu, many, or should I say some Sierra Leoneans, and of course some critics, while they were concerned about how much has been spent on hosting and how much benefit will it, will the ordinary citizens of Sierra Leone actually gain from the summit. Now the summit is over. It was successful, colorful. Everybody's talking about it. Beyond the international recognition and all the people that came in and who have left now, what benefits do Sierra Leoneans stand to gain from this summit?
I saw the practical benefits with my eyes for the past 2 days in Lunge. You know, you have spiritual benefits that you don't see, or that is short term, or medium, that is medium or long term. And you have the physical, immediate benefits that I saw. I went to Lunge. I had no place to sleep in Lunge. Lunge had a lot of guest houses, a lot of hotels. There were no place to sleep. I had to take a boat to come back for 2 days. Even with your money, you have money. No place. Everywhere was booked. Everywhere. Even the little guest houses. People were renting homes, their houses. Say, okay, when I can't take this home, when I just give me 2-3 million, when I can sleep here. People were sleeping there. So it tells you it has immediate impact on the economy of the people. Okada riders. I mean, they see Okada riders, they take three people there. They drive there, carry them, go. All over the past 2 days, the Okadas were active. The petrol stations were active. So the basic economic livelihood of the people, the direct cash that was pumped into the economy for the past 2 days, just in Lunge alone, was huge. That was huge. This is like immediate. Okay, I get me a guest house. This now in season, customer, they come. All of the sudden, 2 days, I get over 50, 60. You understand? Guests there. We lodge now my guest house. Pay me for 2 days. Buy food for my restaurant.
How
you
much
understand?
was spent,
Buy water.
Mr. Mambo?
So in terms of spending on the conference, there are statutory expenditure that is under the purview of the ECOWAS Commission. ECOWAS has statutory expenditure. This is an ECOWAS conference and Sierra Leone is contributing to ECOWAS. ECOWAS have monies for this. So in terms of the holistic nature of the conference, all the expenditure regarding the conference itself was championed by ECOWAS. You know, every ECOWAS member, every year, you give your contribution to continue being a member of ECOWAS, and those monies are being managed by the ECOWAS Commission, who is the administrative arm of ECOWAS. So those resources in terms of...
So the money spent on the summit was actually given by ECOWAS?
Yes, this is a statutory ECOWAS meeting. So by regulation, ECOWAS fund the meeting itself. When
what
it
about
comes
the infrastructure?
The infrastructure, that's why I'm coming. There are different facets of different facets of funding. When it came to the infrastructure was not built for ECOWAS alone. Let's get it, because a lot of Sierra Leoneans are saying, oh, they don't go build hall for ECOWAS meeting. ECOWAS meeting don't do now. Waiting they happen with the hall. The hall specifically, the President Julius Maada Bio International Conference Center was not built primarily or mainly to host ECOWAS conference. This is an international conference center that has PPP arrangement, public-private partnership arrangement. Okay, it is a private investment that government went into.
So how much did the government spend?
No, government. I have told you that government went into a private arrangement.
Okay.
With regarding the.
Do you have an idea of the amount? That's the point.
The amount is all over social media. It's
so
about 124 million was spent to build the presidential villas and the Julius Maada Bio International.
How much of that chunk of 124 million United States dollars did Sierra Leone provide?
Well, I don't think Sierra Leone provided any, but if it was very minimal, because as I said, this...
But we are expected to pay as part of the partnership.
Yeah, it's part of... But it's PPP, just like the Wellington Mashaka Road is going to pay for itself. This is just like the airport. The airport is paying for itself. So part of the arrangement to get the infrastructure was a public-private partnership arrangement where you have private investors investing to build the International Conference Center, looking at the need. Now, as of this morning, if you go online, you will see that the President Julius Maada Bio International Conference Center have been flagged for an international destination. So for example, if you have energy conferences, you see big conferences all over the world every day. That conference is now part of the pool for hire, the infrastructure, and very soon you hear the last time Hilton Hotel, right? Hilton Hotel very soon will be building 4-star 100-bedroom hotels. Because when international conference want to come to your country, they look at certain infrastructural arrangements, certain transportation benchmarks. They look at certain environmental conditions for them to come. So the International Conference Center will be there. It's now already there. Internationally, it's placed. All the facilities that other international conference centers have, they have it. We have we have the airport to host whatever flights from the world, whether it's B-52 or Concorde from the United States. Sierra Leone airports have the capacity to host whatever magnitude of airline that comes down here. So it means now the conference center is going to be there now for not only local conferences, but then for international hire, which means Sierra Leone, the private sector will regain their money back, but then also Sierra Leone will be able to have a lot of dividend by making sure we're now open for business. We're now open as a tourist destination, as a country. So for us, the relationship between the infrastructure and the physical aspect of ECOWAS funded itself. It has a mandatory funding that they use for ECOWAS conferences, and government went into a PPP arrangement to make sure we get the infrastructure that we have now.
All right, so let me bring Thomas in on this. I know we've discussed, someone even on Facebook is saying, Sierra Leoneans are small-minded. We've discussed President Bio's chairmanship as if it's a big, laudable venture for the past God knows when. We've discussed this building, and we are letting go of the fundamental issues, as Sierra Leoneans that we should discuss, whether with regards to ECOWAS, with regards to President Bio's presidency, and so on and so forth. Do you think we've spent a lot of time on these shenanigans that are not even important?
Well, I think, first of all, hosting any international program in one's country is very important. And people will like it. It will create jobs when the program is going. I know of young people who are employed as protocol officers at Bintumani and at Lungi. So for like 2 weeks, they may have got something in their pocket that would help them boost their individual economic power. If you look at the bigger picture, what the person is saying, that we are small-mindedness, I think Sierra Leoneans are not small-minded. It's that we like to discuss petty issues, and I think again on the flip side, there are issues I think that are very important that we should discuss, and I think that is why people are questioning the $124 million, for example. And I see Mambu is saying that it's a private sector. Yes, it's a PPP arrangement. It's the same people who did the airport, Suma Group, a subsidiary of Suma Group called FB Group. They did the conference center and the presidential suite, and they are doing the hotel, for which Hilton, they have already entered into agreement with Hilton to manage. So Hilton is coming to manage the infrastructure after completion. For this conference hall, the amount is $86 million. FB Group directly took loan of $15 million. And with the aid of government, Sierra Leone government, about $71 million was taken as a loan under a sovereign guarantee. Well, there's a financial mechanism called sovereign guarantee, for which the IMF, the World Bank, affirmed that they don't want countries like Sierra Leone, because most of the debt we are accruing is as a result of sovereign guarantee. Sovereign guarantee is a situation wherein one will serve as a guarantor. You, the lawyer, those who are lawyers, will know. So if I'm unable to pay the money as an investor, that's immediately come to the books of the government. So it's called contingent liability. So in case we are unable to pay, the company is unable to make that profit, which Mambu and others and some of us are anticipating. If they are unable to make that profit in record time, then the government of Sierra Leone will be liable for that amount of money. But again, there are very important issues that you want to say that you want to ask a company to come and take something. And you look at the whole deal, you ask yourself, FB Group, which is Suma, they came up with this idea that the government contacted other people, other players. Maybe we would have got less amount, value for money for that. But that's another issue. But there are other issues at Lungi. Infrastructural issue, basic infrastructure, water, electricity,
even
good
the roads within Lungi.
Yes, in fact, I saw a road where the civil aviation, they decided to create a bypass road for people who are using the airport, regular passengers. The road was somehow graded, but it was not good. So you look at some of these basic infrastructure, that is the reason citizens are questioning. Because we are in a situation wherein you have the basics. There will be no need for citizens to question. So for somebody to say Sierra Leoneans are small-minded, they are not small-minded. They are just questioning some of these things. It is only when I posted something, I saw the president working. Since 2018, the president we saw, the energy we saw in 2018, in the first 6 months of 2018, we saw that same energy in the president this time.
Yeah, you said the way he has worked these 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
If he had worked in the past 8 years.
Yes, we saw that same energy. But we saw that energy dissipated over time. Only for that energy to come up now. It's like where we small mama they want forget one important stranger. They tell we all for go backyard, clean the house, all over. It's like a situation like that. And Mambu also talked about the transition. ECOWAS, yes, it's a mandatory one term, and it's rotational. But they are based on your leadership acumen. ECOWAS can see that we are giving you a second term.
Hasn't President Bio proved
Based
that
on-
with his international presence? I want to ask. And ECOWAS, can't ECOWAS see President Bio's involvement with the UN, the EU? I mean, he's traveled a lot. Isn't that enough credential for ECOWAS to give him a second
before
term?
coming into that, I saw Mahmoud say that when they elected the president, people saying the president is using ECOWAS to travel. No, even before ECOWAS, we have a president who has been traveling. He likes to travel, even before ECOWAS. So ECOWAS is not the yardstick to say President Bio has been traveling. He has been traveling even before this 1 year. So there are 14 chairmen of ECOWAS authority that have been given multiple mandates. 14 in the history of ECOWAS. The recent one is Bola Tinubu, Nana Akufo-Addo. Nana Akufo-Addo was given the mandate again based on how he was able to use ECOWAS to handle the COVID situation. So ECOWAS can, based on the situation, they can actually elect you. They can actually ask you to go back for another term. And for us to say that the president, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, was in a sister radio program, and he said that the president was interested in the second term. He is the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So Minister handling ECOWAS affairs also. And if he said that in a sister radio program, the president was interested in second term, it means the presidency is disappointed that they've not been given a second term. He said that based on what the president has done,
could there be speculations as to why, if we were to project, if we were to hypothesize why he wasn't giving, a second mandate?
We are journalists. We are not supposed to be hypothetical. So I will not want to go into hypothesis. I want to say that the fact of the matter is our president was not given the second term, and I was talking about this PPP arrangement and the leadership style. There's the PPP arrangement. People will not have questioned it if the basic have been available. And I was talking about the way the president worked in 2 weeks. I think that if we had, you will see that I was talking to some people and they said, Dixon, our leaders are wicked. In a short time, you go from Aberdeen to Cape Town, you see the street lights. They are all on. in a short time, that is telling you that the monitoring aspect of governance is lacking. The monitoring aspect of governance is lacking. This is, and sometimes it does not take it is not the president to go out and monitor. The president is busy with international affairs, with handling policy. There is supposed to be somebody who should be monitoring for us to get those basics to be available. And it is also showing, it's also depicting that we should not have a president that is cut off from reality. Our president, this is a small nation. The president should not be cut off from reality. And sometimes people around the presidency will create that make-believe notion that things are better. And I believe when I saw my president at Atlantic Hotel, the presidential suite, the president was telling the manager of the hotel, you have to paint this side, you have to put carpet here. Actually on the ground working. This is a small country. We need a president who should be working. As I said, what I saw in President Biu in 2018, the first 6 months, I only saw it now.
All right, before Lima comes in, I apologize.
You are not the moderator. Calm down.
One key highlight that came out of the summit was the speech by General Doumbouya, Mamadi Doumbouya of Guinea. He openly criticized ECOWAS, inside the summit. Was it courage or calculated political theater? I'm asking because since he came to power as a military leader and now as a democratically elected president, has had border issues with country around his own country, with Sierra Leone, with Liberia, with Burkina Faso, and with Senegal.
Yeah.
How can someone who've had issues with neighboring countries come to ECOWAS and say you are not doing well when he very himself has issues with countries around him? He also has internal issues with his own people.
That's where you want to draw down on ECOWAS. When Doumbouya came, ECOWAS was not as assertive as they were to Niger, to Mali and Burkina Faso. They sent President Biu to go and talk to Doumbouya, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly Doumbouya did an election that is being deemed not free, not fair, not credible. And ECOWAS did nothing. Similarly to our own situation here, the 2023 election was deemed lacking statistical accuracy. So and ECOWAS did nothing. So some of these things, ECOWAS will only step up when the situation reach to another level.
Is it like a scratch my back, I scratch your back kind?
I think it's as I describe it, what is happening at ECOWAS, as elite bargaining. We are in ECOWAS states, within the ECOWAS, you have this. In fact, other people said, I've read some papers in Nigeria, in Ghana, people calling ECOWAS as a chilling club. Where ECOWAS leaders will go and chill. This talk will have no effect.
But does Doumbouya has the moral ground to criticize ECOWAS?
It doesn't have the moral ground, but what Doumbouya spoke, particularly on policies of ECOWAS being felt by the people, that is what the people want to hear. He spoke for the gallery. Doumbouya went there to speak the minds of the people. That look, we are in here. We are just talking. The people are out there. They want good roads. They want good electricity. They want good. They want food. They want employment. Create the opportunities for young people. As I said, that is the greatest threat ECOWAS is facing. Our young people supposed to be what they call demographic dividend. They should benefit ECOWAS. But are we sitting by for them to become a demographic crisis? That is the question Doumbouya is posing to his colleagues. Unfortunately, it worked out, which I think is not good. And I think some of the issues, particularly for the Mano River Union Basin, it's not good for Doumbouya to handle it as he's doing. We are used to settling issues peacefully and amicably than with military presence here and there. No, even the way he came into Sierra Leone as a sovereign country, with lots of this is the second time he's doing it. And there should be somebody who should be saying, no, we cannot allow the number of this plethora of military people into our country. So I don't know whether at the presidential level that has been. There are things that are being said that they will say in the background that some of us will not know. I don't know if at that level It has been said, but you don't want. I applaud him for not taking aeroplane or jets to come into Sierra Leone, because we are just close to the neighbor. You can drive in, but you can drive in at least with some limited number of military presence, some limited number of armor cars and AA guns. No, you can do that. And I think again on the benefit of President Bio as ECOWAS chairman, is his intervention. For me, his greatest benefit is his intervention in Benin, the coup in Benin. His intervention, according to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, to be able to galvanize ECOWAS and ECOMOG calling Nigeria to be able to forestall that coup. It's great, and today we have a transition in Benin. But again, what is ECOWAS doing with people who are manipulating constitutions? Constitutional term limits. There are people manipulating it. And ECOWAS is sitting there saying nothing. That's not so. That's the greatest benefit that our president, and this will be in the records. That at one particular time, Julius Maada Bio, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, served as chair of ECOWAS. And another achievement one may say, it's under him that we had a newly built ECOWAS headquarters. Although that is being criticized, that it was built by the Chinese and not by ourselves. So, but it was under his tenure.
Do you think
that particular thing was? So I think it's also a tap on the shoulder of the president.
You've mentioned constitutional issues within West Africa.
Yes.
We've seen what has happened in Senegal.
Yeah.
Now the mantle is being shifted to Senegal. A very young president. Do you think he's inheriting an organization in transition or in decline? He's also having his own internal issues.
Yes, he's having his own internal issue, but he's been able to handle his own internal issue more maturely. He's a young man. Look at how he's The reason for the fallout between him and Sanko is because Sanko wants him to be petty. He has been more mature. He knows that when you are president of your country, you should have a pragmatic look at situation, not as when you are in opposition. Sanko is saying no. You will not just come as president and you want to stop IMF programs. You are killing your economy. So he saw that. You will not want to come as president and you are chasing opposition members, which Sanko wants, and he saw that. I said, no, we have to bring Senegal together. So he's a young man, but he's very, very much mature in terms of how he's dealing with politics in his country. You see, when the Sanko took over the parliament and want to bring in, he went to the court as president for an interpretation. So he's using the law, and I think in terms of infrastructure, Senegal has the infrastructure to have good summit, better summit, and better conferences in terms of that than Sierra Leone. And this is not the first time Senegal is having. You have President Abdoulaye Wade, who was also chair of ECOWAS. So I think he will be, and he's not shy away from like asking for advice from former presidents. We also welcome the former presidents. We are like enemies. We welcome the former president as against his ally in Sanko. So I think, I believe he will take off from where President Bio stopped, and the President Bio, I believe, will also be very useful in terms of talking to military regimes in Africa, particularly in Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. He's been visiting those countries, and I believe he will be very, very, very much useful in bringing them in their democratic transition process and bringing them back to ECOWAS.
Dixon, before Mambo comes in, because I know he wants to jump in on this, but before he comes in, yes, I'll give you time, Mambo. Before Mambo.
More than 35 minutes.
You spoke over 30 minutes. You spoke over 30 minutes. I'm just.
Let's talk about the presence of the former president and his Michael summit. Do you think it was a coincidence that just few weeks or so before the summit, news started flying all around that his charges were going to be dropped, and this was going to happen, they were going to take this to Parliament, and we want unity, we want cohesion, and all of that.
Yeah.
And do you think his presence in the summit was merely symbolic, or it carried some political?
Well, I think his presence in the summit is...
do you think he was there, by the way, to help President Madabio campaign for...
I don't think so. I think it was a way to show unity and reconciliation. I think we need the former president around. There are countries without former presidents. Having the former president around could make you actually try to seek advice from him on issues. I believe that the way the former president was exiled to Nigeria is very unfortunate situation. And as I said in a sister radio program, I hope that the victims are well aware of this whole process. It's not another bargaining, because it has its own effect. I also hope that those victims will be well catered for, because I know of people who lost their dads in this November attempted coup, and they are suffering now. I hope that the government will actually bend backward over to look at the education of their children, because they died in defending the state. And there are other people asking for those who have also been sentenced, that if we want a broader reconciliation, let's consider also them. But I'm not going into that. I'm not in favor of that. I think in life, the former president has served Sierra Leone, and he's a good man. You see from his appearance at the airport, the way he's been treated by both opposition, by both SLPP and APC people. He's been a good man. They are good man, and I think going forward, people who are close to politicians should be very careful how they become so loyal at the detriment of their own lives. Okay. Because these politicians will always have ways that means they can meet and discuss. So those supporters down there, now they sell plazas, now they sell in the market, they make you come in plaba because of APC and SLPP. Just look how they were laughing. Look at the former president and the first lady laughing, cracking joke. Look at the former president and the other politician cracking joke, discussing. I think it's more of symbolic than more of campaigning, because as I said, ECOWAS chairmanship is mandatory one term.
Okay, Mambo, you can now jump in.
So I want you to please take note of the time that he spoke.
No, Mambo, it's not a debate, it's a contribution.
No, I know, no, but he said a lot of things that need clarifications. Mm. So to do that, you may need the same opportunity, if not even more, so that you'll be able to clarify. So I want to start with infrastructure of Lunge.
The PPP agreement.
No, the infrastructure. He spoke about the infrastructure. The PPP arrangement, that's one we cannot go into, because Sierra Leoneans know now that Sierra Leone as a country did not dig deep into the consolidated revenue fund to build infrastructure as the APC did for the OAU. So that's the difference. We had a PPP arrangement that will be taken care of by itself, just as they did for the Wellington Mashaka Road. And the conference is it is an international conference to a point that any international organization can book that conference or for any international program. And Lunge have the infrastructure to host any number of delegates. The infrastructure of Lunge, I know Dixie know that any moment from now, 10 megawatts of solar electricity will be commissioned for Lunge. You know, we commissioned one in Newton, and 10 megawatts will also be commissioned for Lunge, which will be switched on anytime from now. He spoke about the activeness of President Bio for the past 2 weeks compared to the past years. You see, when we sit here as a country, as a people, as journalists, as political commentators, it is important to give accolade where accolade is due. It is important to critique as well where critique is due. That's your job. It's important. But I can bet my life, and many Sierra Leoneans can attest to it, that since President Bio assumed office as the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone, he has been hands-on up to today. President Bio continued to be hands-on on healthcare. He continued to be hands-on on electricity to a point at a time he was the Minister of Energy, where Dr. Kande Yonkela was representing him. President Bio have gone and gotten a compact, which is the Mission 300, which is over $2.1 billion, which is part of those monies that brought in. We're now seeing the NANT project at Kisi that will bring in the first gas plant electrification. By the next June, 78 megawatts will be pumped into our energy generation capacity in this country. It's because President Bio have been hands-on. 2 years to election, IMF, World Bank continue to impose confidence in the leadership of President Bio globally. They continue to give more confidence, more hope to the economy, to President Bio. President Bio have been hands-on on every sector. Are there challenges? Yes. In 8 years, President Bio...
No, let's stay on the ECOWAS issue.
No, I'm
responding to what
it's just a matter of response.
We know what President Bio has and has not done.
Good.
Let's stay on the ECOWAS issue.
So the comment is, President Bio have been hands-on since day one to today. Anything President Bio sets his mind to do, he's going to do it. On the conference, you see, let me boast this to Sierra Leoneans. I was speaking at the media on Friday. One of the reasons why deliberately we took the conference and those infrastructure to Lunge is because we want to deliver. Sierra Leone want to deliver the Lunge Bridge. And I know as a journalist, and I know as a journalist and as a people, we've never asked this question: why have the Lunge Bridge not delivered? Now, it's not that we don't have investors to invest $2.1 billion to build the Lunge Bridge. We do. But then because Sierra Leone want to build the Lunge Bridge using a PPP arrangement, when you spend $2.1 billion on a bridge, you need certain amount of years to be able to recoup your money. Do you know why it was easy for the APC government to attract an investor to do the Wellington-Mashaka Highway? It was because when they did the geological survey in terms of traffic flow, especially for the Hastings toll gate, you understand, right? It was within the realm that in record time they will be able to recoup their money. And one of the reasons why we've not had the investor to start the Lunge Bridge is because of traffic flow. Traffic flow between Freetown and Lunge, Freetown and other parts of Sierra Leone have been low. So what we're doing, we're planning, we're setting off Lunge as an international destination. Now, for example, we have that conference center. If Farm will talk, want to have an international conference now on peace building, community building, reintegration, reconciliation. Farm will talk, will say, okay, we're taking that conference to the Julius Maada Bio International Conference Center, and then you will see the flow of traffic. Immediately we get the flow of traffic to a certain level, you will see investors becoming interested to invest in building the Lunge Bridge. So what we're doing, we're not crazy. We know what we're doing because we want to deliver Lunge as another destination so that the city can move, can shift. President Bio, he spoke about President Bio's leadership. I don't want to speak to that. When we talk about leadership and democracy in Sierra Leone, President Bio have been one of the people who is not thirsty for power. We've been in this country, we've seen people shouting more time for other democratically elected president, even though the constitution is clear regarding term limits. They've been shouting more time. But President Bio have not. In fact, he has been one of the only democratically elected presidents who have announced election dates way before elections. We saw what happened in 1996 when President Bio went to Bintumani too, and the people, John Coker was there, and the people said, oh, we want election before peace. President Bio came and delivered the election. He handed over power peacefully and left. So when it comes to the ECOWAS leadership, President Bio was elected on 1 year mandatory term. He has served diligently and now handed over power. But you know what's interesting about Salon people there? Law says President Bio been get the second term. You know what's in the same opposition and propagandists therefore don't say, President Bio don't left Salon problem. Salon get so many problems, don't go take him back for the second time. Even the first time when they gave it to him, People were saying, oh, there are more priorities in Sierra Leone. Why not President Bio focus on priorities in Sierra Leone? But now he's taking leadership role.
But it's rotational. Was it not our turn?
No, ECHO is rotational, but they still have to elect you.
Yeah.
So even though it's rotational, they still have to elect you.
Yeah, that's
all right. So when President Bio got it, a lot of pundits were saying, oh, why not leave it and then focus on domestic issues? Now he served one term and handed over. People are saying, oh, no, they're not electing for the second term. Nalayo, the same people, if they be elected President Bio for the second term yesterday, those same pundits, the journalists to hear Dixon and others who say, there are priorities. This is 2 years for the end of his term. He should focus on domestic issues. Why focus on what is happening in other countries? So for us, we're grateful. Sierra Leone is grateful that President Bio was able to serve diligently. And not only President Bio's achievements as an ECOWAS chairman, not only the issue of Benin. Mind you, when President Bio ascended to the throne of the leadership of ECOWAS, those were the times when coup, military takeover was prevalent. Immediately President Bio took over, he traveled around West Africa quickly. In few weeks, the issue of military takeover in West Africa came down a little bit. It was stabilized because there were rumors in the Gambia, for example. There were even rumors in Senegal. You understand? There were rumors in other places. But President Bio was able to stabilize that. President Bio was able to engage. And the confidence of West Africans, especially West African leaders, those within the ranks of the military and those within the democratic spheres, gave the confidence to President Bio, and President Bio was able to penetrate democratically to make sure they see the reason of forgetting about military takeovers, return back to democratic dispensation. Look at the excellent job President Bio did with Mamadou. Look at what he did with Guinea. Even though we had problems with Guinea, but Mamadou held on to power as a military leader for some time. President Bio went engaged. First, he went as an envoy. He went as a chairman, engaged. Mamadou, finally what happened? Guinea returned to a democratic and constitutional role. So President Bio is going to be described in West Africa as one of the leaders who have worked over the years and continue to work, even as now, to make sure West Africa stay together and then continue to project, you understand, our relationship as West Africans, trade between West Africans and other areas. But then the far-reaching implication that all of us should discuss, and as Sierra Leoneans we must be grateful of, is the aspect to see the peaceful nature of President Bio with regards to the coming of the former president, Ernest Bai Koroma. I used to say this, and I know you, when I all can listen, where I can tell when I say SLPP, the destiny of Salone rests on the shoulders of SLPP. So many a times when I'm with you guys, I used to say that, right? And these are the reasons. Because every major event that have brought peace, democratic stability, economic growth, economic stability in Sierra Leone have been shouldered by the SLPP government. Anytime Sierra Leone is in trouble, it was the SLPP who took Sierra Leone to the independence. SLPP organized it was SLPP who won 1996 election, who fought the war and ended the war. It was SLPP government who sat on the table and gave some of his powers, you understand, for us to gain peace. Who gave powers to the RUFO, the Sanko, for us to gain peace. It was SLPP, after Pakaba declared the war done, people like John Coker and others who was here through the NAXA, gave NAXA support to make sure we continue the rebuilding process of our country. It was SLPP that was in power, that we have the first democratically transfer of power from a government, from a ruling party to an opposition party, and we did that peacefully. So for us, the coming of President Koroma just add another feather on the cap of the SLPP government, and that of His Excellency, the peaceful nature of His Excellency, President Julius Maada Bio. I know you all have you'll be following the past 2-3 months. You'll be seeing the bromance, the romance, the democratic and the love, the unity, the conciliatory aspect between the ruling party SLPP and that of the opposition APC. You've seen the love. I saw in the hall yesterday former Victor Fo and Paya Sane, they shook hands, and it was Jimmy Batilo Songa, the chairman of SLPP, who was holding their those are the kind of things John Coker wants to see, and I know more donors will run to John Coker if John Coker continues to see those things. So for us, we want to say the ECOWAS conference was a success in so many spheres for the people of Sierra Leone. But for the emotional aspect, and John will attest to that, Sierra Leone owe ECOWAS a lot, that more more than so many of those countries, because it was a ECOWAS resolution supported by the United Nations that brought ECOMOG troops in Sierra Leone. Thousands died in this country. Up to today, their family have not recovered those bodies. Their bones, their spirits were buried in this country. So for us, we're grateful that the conference came here, and the spirit of those who died to protect our peace and democracy will resurrect again peacefully and say, okay, finally, Sierra Leone hosted ECOWAS, and they appreciated the role that ECOWAS played in their country. Whether you are Gen Z or you are Gen X, we must our history books and know where we are coming from, so that we can plan for today and plan for the future, so that where we are coming from negatively, Sierra Leone will chart a new way forward for the better.
Okay, ma'am. So we've been joined in the studio by John Coker, who is the Executive Director for Famble Talk International. Welcome to Wake Up Sierra Leone.
Thank you for having me.
So, John, you head an organization that deals largely with dialogues, peace building. You're a peace broker, if I should say. You go to these towns and villages and ensure that people who fight actually make peace. And the most talked about thing about in ECOWAS right now, and of course this whole summit that was hosted, is unity, peace, cohesion, not just nationally, but in the regional bloc. Do you see that being achieved from this summit that we have just hosted?
Thank you very much. Peace is not an event. It's a process. And it's a process that, builds over time. So what happened over the last week was another milestone to building or consolidating the peace in the sub-region. I would like to talk more about Sierra Leone. I see the last 6 weeks thereabouts as a golden opportunity for Sierra Leone to rise above partisan politics. For Sierra Leone to see beyond, for Sierra Leoneans to see beyond their individual selves and think about national cohesion. I start with the funeral of the late Honorable Menkailo, may his soul rest in peace. It was not a partisan affair, it was a national issue. And I think that is the same lens with which I saw the ECOWAS summit. And the visit or the attendance of former President Nkrumah also sends a strong message. The message from the government of Sierra Leone in that direction was, we are here as Sierra Leone. This is above partisan politics, and we are here to move forward as a nation. I think that is a major achievement. But on itself, it's not enough. We have to build on that achievement. We have to be patient to hear from the Attorney General and Minister of Justice what is in the docket. We've asked questions. We issued a press release asking questions around, where the families, the victims consulted or informed. Like in other parts of the world, when you're about to take such a major decision, you prepare the families. It could be an oversight, but let's start to learn from these things. So, from our position, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice has to really come on air to clarify a lot of issues so that the people of Sierra Leone will not fabricate stories. And where there is lack of communication, people make up stories. So it's important for Honorable Alpha Cisse to come forward and clear the air. But the ECOWAS summit, I think for some of us who travel around, it's a unique opportunity, and you feel good as a Sierra Leonean.
Do you think money spent was justified?
That's something that we will assess over time. You see, again, these are things you don't just decide what happens. It's like less than 24 hours. We need to be patient, maybe have some research, like to see what are the impacts 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road. We can also look at cluster impacts, like what's the benefit to the tourist industry? What's the benefit to the investment climate? For example, what I saw yesterday with First Lady and former President Nkrumah, if my father left some money for me in the bank, I'll be happy to come and invest in Sierra Leone, because it's a show of confidence that the ruling party and the opposition, there is room for ongoing engagement. So that is the message some of us would like to see the government build on, because at the end of the day, the government will be held accountable, for this period.
Talking about that, this sudden love, or should I say unity between the opposition, the main opposition, All People's Congress, and of course the ruling Sierra Leone People's Party, is it a good thing for the citizens? Because in democracies generally, you have the government in power, and people always expect to have a opposition to be checkmating, the things that the government in power might be doing. Do you think this sudden kind of marriage, like you said, in the last 6 weeks, starting from the funeral arrangements for the late Minkailu Mansaye, is that Minkailu Mansaye? Yes, the former chairman of the All People's Congress, up to now that we see the First Lady and the former president all bubbly, which we didn't see in the past, and many people didn't know they even had such a beautiful relationship. Do you think that is good for the citizens, or it's only good for the politicians?
I was actually trying to think, there are some scholars, I was trying to really figure out who said those words. But basically the idea is events can trigger, a different approach to leadership. Event can trigger the mindset of people. So maybe the death of the late Honorable Minkailu and the ECOWAS summit may serve as the turning point for Sierra Leone. Whatever has happened behind the scenes, whatever has happened in the past, I think what we are looking for or forward to as an organization is how do we consolidate these 6 weeks? How do we ensure this bromance does not end abruptly today?
And we go back to
where we were. So how do we consolidate that? You, the media, you have a role to play. Let's just get these people to understand, because a lot has been done, a lot is happening, a lot will happen. But how do we ensure that what is happening trickles down to the ordinary Sierra Leoneans? Until these two parties understand that Sierra Leone is bigger than them, it's going to be a challenge. And what we have seen is the government of Sierra Leone is willing to take a major decision, even though it might have a backlash. And that willingness is a sign of leadership. Because you look at what it takes, back and forth, the possibility of a backlash, and you are resolved that this is in the interest of Sierra Leone. Let's get former President Nkrumah in town, let's drop these charges, but we also need to look at how do we address the welfare of others who may fall within that same bracket. And this is also an opportunity for us. I always go back to the TRC recommendations. I was on air with Hawa Samai, Peace Commission, who said most of the recommendations in the tripartite are in the TRC also. So if we focus on implementing the recommendations of the TRC, it will move Sierra Leone beyond this, endless political gimmick where we always fight each other. Let's look at, elections are over. Let's talk about development. Let's make sure we look at the lives of ordinary Sierra Leoneans. Let's get to the president's ear and tell him, look, few months ago, Falaba was on the limelight because of what happened. Over the weekend, I sent my team to go to Falaba. And these issues are still there. So we need to find ways to get those information to His Excellency the President, so he is able to take informed decisions how to address these issues once and for all. But basically, I see a wonderful opportunity for Sierra Leone, which we have all been yearning for since 2002. You know, for Sierra Leoneans, all of us to come together and move as a nation. We've realized how important it is for us to, you know, rally around one agenda. You know, and I think the opposition party demonstrated that over the last week. Just as the ruling party demonstrated that 4 to 6 weeks ago. So I think, you know, it's like 50-50. So now let them move on as one and find ways to address our endless challenges.
Mr. Coker, can Sierra Leone be used as a microcosm of what's happening in the broader picture of West Africa? I mean, you've spoken about, you know, peace in particular within Sierra Leone and its importance, but ECOWAS frequently speaks about peace, you know, economic boom, you know, to ensure that citizens within West Africa, you know, live a better life. But is peace possible where political trust among member states is the problem? You look at the recent issues between Nigeria and Niger, Nigeria and Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone and Guinea, Liberia and Guinea, Guinea and Burkina Faso, Guinea and Senegal. There are issues within West Africa that we are not dealing with. Let's leave terrorism aside for a minute. Let's leave, you know, human trafficking issues. Let's leave drugs. Let's leave the issue of piracy. Even within and among member states, there are issues, border issues, political tensions within and among these member states. How can we talk of peace, you know, at the broader scale, at regional level, when member states have issues with each other? We saw what happened between Sierra Leone and Guinea with the Yenga and now the Falaba border issue. Again, also with Liberia, Guinean soldiers crossing in. We saw the statements of General Mamadi Doumbouya, you know, calling on ECOWAS to be proactive rather than just being a talk shop. But you are coming to tell people to be, you know, proactive, and you yourself are having issues with your neighbor. What message are we sending? We want ECOWAS to be vigilant, but these member states, you know, have issues amongst themselves. Where do we connect this nexus between peace and economic progress and development?
You see, we are preparing for such engagement because we believe the world, you know, the peace process, you know, the approach to peace, sometimes we are getting it wrong. We want to go back to the drawing board, as Fambu talk. In fact, we'll form a coalition. I'm saying this for the first time. We're still in the, you know, process. A coalition of 3 organizations, Kenya, US, and Sierra Leone, you know, to look into Heart of Africa. How do we address peace from the inside out? Now you're talking about ECOWAS, the sub-region. Let me add to your list. Gambia and Senegal have started a border dispute. This is like few hours or days ago. Now, the point is, at that level, whatever is done at the, you know, it's symbolic. Let's try to address peace from the inside. Let's see what can be done within Guinea, what can be done within Sierra Leone. Let's consolidate country, you know, processes before we look at the sub-region. I think it's too ambitious to talk about peace at the sub-region when we are grappling with so many challenges within individual countries. So, you know, and most of the unifying subjects, you know, like trafficking, you know, these are, I mean, honestly, these are agendas that are driven from the outside. You know, donor-driven agenda. This is for bread and butter. That is our own agenda for peace. You know, I was in South Sudan a few months ago, where we are looking at, you know, in South Sudan. We went in, you know, there was like, but after they realized that yes, it is possible, because you cannot talk about peace in isolation. Peace is a process. You need to find ways for people to eat. You need to find ways for people to go to bed, you know, peacefully. So all of that aggregated leads to sustainable peace. So let's look at Sierra Leone. Let's get the different countries to look at their internal issues, and when you aggregate the peace within all these countries, we can talk of peace at the sub-regional level. But at this time, I think it's too premature. I mean, it's too ambitious to even think of ECOWAS. You know, the agenda for the summit, some of us were questioning how was the agenda developed. You know, like the heads of state, not because of Sierra Leone leadership, the agenda for the heads of state. Can we influence that agenda? You know, for us as CSOs, we have our ways of doing things through shadow government, through our foreign ministers. Can we add to that agenda? Some of us are surprised why the issue of Yenga did not come up during the discussion. You know, and it's technical. They will say, well, it was at the ministerial level. But such an issue we expect to be discussed at the heads of state level. And let them tell us what was discussed. So it's a process. We are not crying down anything. It's just to say there's room for improvement, but this summit, make no doubt, you know, has brought pride to us as Sierra Leoneans, but we also need to find ways.
Earlier on, Thomas Dixon referenced Mamadi Doumbouya's speech as, you know, one of, you know, the voice of the ordinary citizens within ECOWAS. He spoke for the gallery. He spoke, you know, the very thing that every citizen within ECOWAS, you know, wanted to hear or say, that our political leaders just sit around table, you know, every year and discuss these broader policy issues, and nothing is changing. And what West Africa needs is, you know, good roads, electricity, you know, markets, good jobs for the young population. But at the end of the day, again, if we look back at his statement and his work within his own country and, you know, his influence within and around his own neighbor, how much weight can we attach to his statement? Was it just, as we say in Creole, a papi show, or is it really a tangible address that ECOWAS needs to look at and start being proactive?
You see, sometimes the message can be distorted by the messenger. You know, the person who gives the message will sort of add credence to that message. So what he said resonates with most of ECOWAS citizens, but the messenger, you know, is questionable. So was it just, did he just build on, you know, disgruntled comments on social media and package that? We don't know. So I will not comment into the sincerity of that statement, but the statement itself speaks to the concerns of the citizens in ECOWAS. And I believe whatever happens, the leadership will get that message clearly, the way he puts it. But, you know, I don't want to add credence to him by saying it, but what he said, you know, resonates with all of us.
All right, continue still, just gentlemen. We barely have 15 minutes more to go, and we'll have Esther in our studios for sports. Good morning, Esther Marisa Mora.
Good morning, brother. And for sport update this morning, with the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow approaching, some sad athletes of Team Sierra Leone are training at Beluma Field, a venue that is not up to standard. With just days to go before the opening ceremony on July 24th, the pressure is on to get Team Sierra Leone into proper shape ahead of the competition. Well, despite the challenges, the athletes themselves remain focused. Here's a report.
Preparations has intensified, but not in a conducive environment. Instead of training at an accredited facility, athletes are currently using Benguma Field, a venue that is not up to standard for an event of this magnitude. According to the athletes, the decision to use Benguma Field came about because the National Stadium is currently undergoing renovation. Some said they had hoped to use the Bo government mini stadium, but we are unable to do so due to funding and logistical challenges. Nonetheless, the priority was to keep athletes active.
They are in high spirits, and you can see for yourself, you've seen their actions, you know, the agility is there, the determination is there, just that they have one or two psychological mix-up feelings, you know, that they are dealing with. But for now, they are set, no injury worries, no sickness. Really, we are hoping for the better. As I said, the athletes are doing well because I've been actually training them. I've been actually preparing them for quite a long time, and I believe that they are in high spirit and they are doing extremely well, even though, as I said, there's one or two confusion within their mind, within their state, but however, they will do their best. They will do their best. Sierra Leoneans, let us continue to pray because that.
Benguma Field offers open space for basic drills, sprint and conditioning. However, it lacks several features expected at elite level. There is no certified track surface and no equipment comparable to what athletes will face in Scotland.
We dey strain anyway because we know the attacker, but we manage. The training dey go well and smooth. Training, I can't venue they affect me a lot because the strain. Because like dirty ones we can get them without injury, then you need to tell well for me. If we're within our boat, it's Saturday for the smooth for me. Actually, we hope for we make for train a better field than this. More actually for we able to use the Bost mini stadium, but we know able to forget that kind of opportunity. But same way so with the team we hope that we will able to be the best for Sierra Leone, and we don't dedicate everything. As for me, as I talk to you now, and I dedicate everything, and I don't plan for I will deliver something for Sierra Leone. Now we say with the team now at Benguma Field, and we plead for the government coming able to work on the stadium, for we able to get better stadium for the athletes able for train. This particular training ground, the surface ground is so hard for we. So we just manage the situation, but same also we manage.
The athletes themselves remain focused, noting that they know what is at stake and are determined to go out there and make Sierra Leone proud.
In the past 6 months, we did on the preparation for this Commonwealth in Glasgow, Scotland. And it's been hard. A lot of Congolese participate for competing. For county medal for the country. Many team and that's now we plan and how they prepare for them. We need to expect greatness. We try very hard. It's God and it's get there with coach. We look for the challenge.
Thank you. We will do a good performance and we will go the country flag. Coach is there. What I don't put inside we will make out by the place of God. This competition, let us stadium for already because what it's in more international competition, what it's in.
We heard from the constraints on some of the athletes, and away from that, the Chef de Mission of the Commonwealth Games Association of Sierra Leone, Yaya Koma, has confirmed that 24 athletes from 5 sporting disciplines will represent Sierra Leone in Scotland, slated for the 23rd until the 1st of August. He made his disclosure during their maiden briefing at their headquarters in Freetown. Here's an highlight of the conference.
So as we stand, Sierra Leone is only taking part in 5 sports with 24 athletes. Aside from open allocation sports, we had weightlifting, which is qualification. You have to go and qualify. And then we had 3-on-3 basketball. It's also qualification. You have to go and qualify. And then we have the para sports, para powerlifting, para athletics, and all of that. So, because we did not qualify in those sports, our number still remains 24. This number, this open application, you don't need for go qualify. Now give them you. Not to we decide, and you will say, we have quota at 24. So,
and quickly, Waterloo United and Western United have both booked qualification to the Sierra Leone Male Premier League after qualifying to the National Division 1 playoffs. Western United went on to defeat Waterloo FC 2-0 in the final to win the championship. And also in the Sierra Leone Men's Premier League season has come to an end with Slifa, Abacha City, Luawa FC and FCFC all being relegated to Division 1.